Hi everybody, today we're going to learn daily Tanya for Kaf Gimel Addar Beis Tafshin Pei Daled. So yesterday we learned about how there is a difference between what the difference is between the body and the neshama, the guf and the neshama, the body and the spirit. We explained that even though God's life-giving will and his life-giving force and his life-giving motivation, let's say, are present in the world as a whole. They're even present in inanimate things. It is even present in inanimate things. The presence is the present within inanimate things, like the body as such, and the presence within and its presence within the soul is. There's no comparison between them. The presence within the soul is obviously incalculably greater. And now we're going to get into a sort of caveat. We're going to get into sort of the flip side. ואף שבשניהם אור אחד שווה, בבחינת הסתר פנים ולבושים שווים, שהאור מסתתר ומתעלם ומתלבש בו, כי שניהם הם מעולם הזה. Right? So he said that God's will sort of gives life to everything, gives existence to everything, right? But by the same token, in giving existence to everything, it also hides, God's presence is also hidden, right? In that he grants existence to other things, right? So sort of a double-edged sword here. Right? So we're saying that both the guf and the neshama are both from olam hazeh. Which is sort of just as it is given life by God, it also kind of hides God's existence at the very same time. שבכללו מסתתר בשווה האור והחיות שברוח פיו יתברך בבחינת הסתר פנים וירידת המדרגות בהשתלשלות העולמות ממדרגה למדרגה בצמצומים רבים ועצומים עד שנתלבש בקליפת נוגה. So God's presence is also equally hidden. There is a sense that God's presence, as I said, just as it generates the world, it hides itself. עד שנתלבש בקליפת נוגה לחיות כללות עולם הזה החומרי. Okay, so here we're going to get into an idea that comes up in Tarat Asad a lot, and it comes up in Chassidus as well, and that's the idea of klipas and klipat noga. So klipa is that which, like the peel of a fruit, it kind of hides the fruit, it conceals. So there are three klipas that are completely impure and unclean, and there's no good in them at all. And what they need to be, the reason for their existence is so that they may be resisted. There's no redeeming them in any other way. And then there is sort of the heavenly realms, the angels and the Srafim and the Ofanim and Chayot HaKodesh and so on, where the holy things reside and where ultimately sort of God, quote unquote, is, you can say. Or it's sort of the world of those things which declare God's presence as opposed to denying it. And then there's a middle space called Klipat Noga. And Klipat Noga is the place of where there is sort of a mixture of good and evil, right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil. So das in a Hebrew also means knowledge, but it means knowledge in the sense of connection, right? Das between two things is a connection. Ve'adam yada es chava ishtai. It means it is the connection. So with the tree of knowledge of good and evil, what it did was it sort of mixed up good and evil. And now we're here to separate out the good from the evil. And the redemption of Klipat Noga is in the pure and unallowable things that are in it. דהיינו, כל הדברים המותרים והטהורים שבעולם הזה, וממנה ועל ידה מושפעים דברים הטמאים, כי היא בחינת ממוצעת כנ"ל. So the Klipat Noga is kind of an intermediary. It is the space of potential where things can be brought into holiness and things can be brought into declaring God's existence, and it's also the space where the ability to deny God's existence is granted. Um, and this is the realm in which both the body and the soul exist, both the guf and the neshama exist. And therefore, there is an equal potential for concealment of God's presence in the guf and in the neshama, which is interesting. ממוצעת כנ"ל, אף על פי כן ההערה שהיא המשכת החיות, אשר השם מאיר ומחיה דרך לבוש זה, אינה שווה בכולן מבחינת צמצום והתפשטות. But still, even though the way that God gives life to the world is through this sort of middle space, it's still, and in that sense, the guf and the neshama, in the sense that they are created, are equal. There is still a difference in revelation, and this sort of necessarily so, right? Because if there is if there are things that reveal God's presence, and there are things that conceal God's presence, and they're mixed up, well, then there must be some sort of hierarchy of revelation in that space, right? There must be, as I said, things that are closer to God and things that are further from God. So we will continue talking about this tomorrow, and I'll see you then.